Yo, yo. Hello, people. I am Dave England. If you don't know me by now, then you need to like the page and get to know me. I'm bringing you Wine with Dave. This is the wine, and I'm Dave. I bring myself every week. Hey, look, it is wine o'clock. It's wine o'clock. It's going to be wine o'clock for the next 60 minutes. I've got a super cool guest coming on tonight. Really nice and chill guy, a go-getter. I'm not going to steal the thunder. We're going to talk about him in a few minutes. But thank you for showing up. Leave your address. Yeah, type in your address. I want to visit you guys. No, I'm kidding. Just type in the town and city you're from, and we'll just get going with this. So who did we have? McKenna Weinstein, right? Woohoo, can't wait. I heard that you know my guest tonight. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Let me know, McKenna, where you're calling from or watching. And Rick Greenwood, I know you're in California, in the desert, or you're in San Diego right now. So you could just say that. That'll be good. If you're watching this on any other page outside of Wine with Dave and you would like to leave a comment, because a comment can actually show up on the screen, you have to be on the Wine with Dave page, the business page. So that's all I say. You can leave a comment on any page you want. But if you're really interested in asking questions to Anthony Zhang, who's the CEO of Vinovest, we won't see your comments. You got to be on the Wine with Dave page. But just chill out. Just sit back and watch. And it's going to be a good night. I'm in California as well. That's cool. I would figure that. I would figure that. All right, so we're going to get right into this. We've got some people watching already. That's awesome. Let me move my microphone out of the way. So what I do is I've got a few segments, some interactive segments. Rick Greenwood, 29 Palms, only 100 today. Wow, it's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Well, we're going to get right into the next segment, which is called Did You Know? I love Did You Know. I think you guys like Did You Know, too. Ready for this? Got to cue it up. I did not cue it up. Oh, I got to cue it up. And by the way, it's episode 45. I am really approaching episode 50 pretty soon. Trying to boost up and promote local businesses. Well, any business is local, right? Episode 45. So, did you know that lions cannot roar under the age of 2? Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that. There are 2 credit cards for every person in the US of A. This is a very cheap Pinot Grigio, just to let you know. It's really, really cheap. The average woman will consume over 6 pounds of lipstick in her entire life. That is crazy. 6 pounds. A soap bubble, 10,000 times thinner than that of a human hair. Did you know that? I bet you didn't. And this is cool, due to gravitational effects, your weight is slightly less than when the moon is right over your head. I'll say that again. Due to gravitational effects, you actually weigh lighter when the moon is above you. I bet you didn't know that. And if you could drive to the sun at the speed of 55 miles per hour, it would take you 193 years. All right. Get this out of the way. The wristwatch was invented. What year? What year was the wristwatch invented? That is one of the interactive questions. All snakes are carnivorous. Didn't know if you knew that. None of them are vegan. And the average person sheds how many pounds of skin each year? It's kind of gross, huh? A person produces enough saliva to fill 2 average size swimming pools during their entire lifetime. Bet you didn't know that. The next interactive question. The moon is what percent size of the Earth? What percentage size of the Earth is the moon? Okay, so just write in Earth or moon and then write the percentage that you think it is. It will astound you. And an astronaut can be up to 2 inches taller returning from space because the cartilage discs in the spine expand in the absence of gravity. So he actually grows. So when he lands, he should wait till the moon is over his head and he'll be lighter and taller. That's a cool diet. Did you know that 60,000 miles of blood vessels are in the average person? Yeah, you've got 60,000 miles of blood vessels in you right now. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, we're going to wrap up this segment of Did You Know? And you guys really like this segment, so you don't really win anything, but it is what it is. And there we are, done with that. So now let's tally them up. Are we ready? Are we ready? The wristwatch. Let's go back. Whoa. Okay. AJ Coletta. AJ's on. Cool. 2 feet for every girl and boy. All right. I'm going to drink to that one. Wow. That's a blast from the past. That's cool. You remembered. The wristwatch was invented in what year? Rick Greenwood says wristwatch, and he doesn't give an answer. Then he says 1895. What else? No one else voted on that. No one else voted on that wristwatch. What do you think? 1895? Nope. Actually, it was 1904. 1904. All right, next one, okay? So you can vote. The average person sheds how many pounds of skin every year? This is pretty fascinating if you're into that. Skin. So Rick thinks it's 5 pounds of skin a year. That's a lot of skin. That's a lot of skin. Anyone else going to vote on that one? Anybody? Nope. I got no takers. No takers on that? No big prizes anyway tonight, so don't worry about it. It's 1.5 pounds. It's not 5. That'd be you, Rick, not me. 1.5 pounds of skin. That's like 4 quarter-pounders, right? 6. That's 6 McDonald's quarter-pounders of skin every year. If it truly is a quarter pound. I don't know. Anyway, next one. The moon is what percentage size of the Earth? That's our last one of the night. What is the moon percentage of the Earth? Is it 10%, 80%? We got someone saying the moon is 10%. And then Rick says 60,000 miles. Nope. So only one person voted on that. The moon, 10%. And actually, you're wrong. The moon is 27% the size of Earth. So it's about a third. I don't know. That's not super interesting. Anyway, that was cool, right? It is what it is for a Wednesday night, hump night. Let me talk about my guest that's coming up. He's really cool. It's sunny right now in California. It's about, what is it, 8, 7, 6, like 6 o'clock? I think it's 6 o'clock there, 6:09. It's going to be sunny for a while. And the cool thing is I should get some guests on that are in California because I don't have to deal with the lighting issues and, the sun goes down when I do a test at 4 o'clock, and then by the time it's 9 o'clock, I tell them, like, oh, can you move the lamp over that way and, turn the light, There's none of that stuff. So, but I'm a geek. I'm a geek like that. I like working with it. But he's got natural sunlight, so it's going to be a good interview. And he sounds good. But first, before we get into this, today is June 3rd. Today in music history, you ready for this one? Boom, this lady right there. She's cool. She went number 1 in the U.S. singles chart with her version of Otis Redding's hit, Respect. That's right, the Queen of Soul. If you don't know her, you've been living under a rock. Aretha Franklin's cover was a landmark for the feminist movement and is often considered one of the best songs of the R&B era, earning her 2 Grammy Awards in 1968 for Best Rhythm and Blues Recording and the Best Rhythm and Blues Solo Vocal Performance of a Female. That's a long title. She was also inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1987. So I raise a glass to Aretha Franklin. Congratulations. Respect. That's what we need today, right? Respect. Someone should do a new cover of that. Also, in 2002, the Library of Congress honored Franklin's version by adding it to the National Recording Registry. That's big news. That's big news. So I raise a glass to Aretha Franklin. And then, in slightly strange art news today, June 3rd, are you ready for this? This guy, Andy Warhol, love him. In 1968, June 3rd, today, Andy Warhol, the American artist, and a major driving force in the movement known as pop art, is shot and wounded in his New York film studio, The Factory. On June 3rd, actress Valerie Salonis, who founded the group called SCUM, S-C-U-M, do you remember that? It stands for Society for Cutting Up Men. She did not like men, let me tell you. She went to the factory where she found Warhol. You ready for this story? She shot him 3 times, and actually that's a photo after he got out of the hospital. That's not pop art. That's real scars in the bullet hole right in his hip. She shot him 3 times. The first 2 shots missed him, and the third one wounded Warhol. He almost died, actually. He would have died in 68. She also shot at art critic Mario Amaya and attempted to shoot Warhol's manager, Fred Hughes. She did not like men. She didn't. She shot the manager, Fred Hughes, point blank, but the gun jammed, would have killed him. Salonis then turned herself into the police. She was charged with attempted murder, assault, and illegal possession of a gun. She was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and pleaded guilty to reckless assault with intent to harm, serving a 3-year prison sentence, including treatment at a psychiatric hospital. After her release, she continued to promote the SCUM Manifesto, Society for Cutting Up Men. So that was her first attempt at killing a man. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to wipe out the entire male race, and that was her goal, I wouldn't have gone after Andy Warhol. Just a thought. He just wouldn't have come to mind. I don't know. He's just a nice guy. I wouldn't have thought. I would have gone after an athlete, not Andy Warhol. But she did, and she lost. She died in like 1988, something like that. I don't know. Look it up. Anyway, we're going to get on with this. Tomorrow night, my guest is Ali Tedeschi. She is super cool. She's the first repeat guest. So she was on, like the second week I did this. I've been doing this since April 1st. It's already June 3rd. I'm on episode 45. This is cray-cray, as the kids say. And she's coming on again, but she is actually doing something a little different. She's still running her home organizing business, but she's also selling wine. That's right. It's clean, organic wine you can buy from her, and she'll tell you all about it. It's a really funky kind of a business model that she's got. Really awesome. But tonight you're in for a treat. All the way from California, Anthony Zhang is in the green room waiting. He's a serial entrepreneur and the CEO of Vinovest. It's an investment opportunity for folks like us who want to invest in some wine. Check it out. Anthony Zhang, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Dave.
Sunny California. What's the weather like right now?
It's looking pretty 70 degrees, maybe.
I'm sorry, just lost your feed. It's what's the temperature?
I think it's around 70 today. Really perfect.
Nice, nice, nice day to go surfing, I guess, right? Or too cold? Too cold for surfing.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's beautiful, so very thankful.
That's cool. You're a real chill guy. You're a true Californian. Were you born and raised in California?
I was born in the Bay Area, but actually spent most of my life abroad. So I lived in Hong Kong, Beijing, Frankfurt, Vancouver, and actually only came back to California for college.
Oh wow, yeah, you come off as a California guy. I'm just saying, just saying. So what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight, not drinking anything, feeling a little bit under the weather, but usually you can find me either from Paso Robles, from Santa Barbara, or from the Rhone Valley.
Right, right. All right, well, let's get into the interview here. So you've started a few companies, and this last one is what you're putting all your focus in. It's called Vinovest. What's your background? How did you get into wine investing? What brought you there?
So I've always really been a big fan of wine. With how I got started in it, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I had read a report talking about the historical returns of wine and how it actually beaten out the S&P. And I was in a space where I was looking to move some money out of the stock market and was curious of other assets to diversify into, and seeing that it had beaten out the S&P over the past 4 decades, a little bit over 12% annual returns, and seemed like a really fun thing too, just from a passion standpoint. I was like, hell, I'll give it a shot. And it was just something that I spent a lot of time in. Was getting really great returns, but I realized that it was still really hard for most people to access. Things like, how do you figure out which wine to buy for drinking versus for investment?
Right.
Most people don't have massive wine cellars, right? So how do you figure out storage and custody? And then finally, I think most importantly, if you have a bottle of wine, how do you know it's gone up in value, and how do you sell it to be able to get your return? So my new company, Vinovest, aims to solve all these three problems.
Wow. That is, first of all, very cool name. Very easy to remember, too. So what's the historical return on wine? Like if someone were to invest in wine, because I never even knew, I mean, I know you can invest in anything, but traditionally, has it always been good?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised too, because I'm familiar, like most, with the basic concept of wine getting better with age, right? I just didn't know how much better from a financial standpoint. So if you take a look at the last 40 years, it's a little bit over 12% annual returns, which beats out most other asset classes.
Wow. And that's consistent, like year over year.
Yeah, very consistent. So in these past 40 years, it's only had 5 down years. And if you compare that to the stock market, in 40 years, it's probably had 15 down years. So, it's a pretty slow and steady market, and has pretty low volatility as well.
Because I could imagine in bad times, people are buying wine. In good times, people are buying wine. What was it? Napoleon said, like, when you celebrate with, you celebrate with wine, and in defeat, you drink wine. So, I don't know. I forget what the quote is. But basically, no matter what, if you win or you lose, you drink wine. Is there a season where wine does better, like winter, summer, or is it just on track to always be pretty solid and strong?
I'd say it's really not too seasonal, because this wine, the wines in the bottle, they need years, even decades, to really reach their peak potential, both from pricing and from a drinking standpoint. Although there are certain seasons of the year where, new releases is always an exciting time to be able to see what's happening for this next batch of wines that are being released.
Well, that's my next question. So what is Vinovest, and what makes it different than just buying one yourself and collecting and investing? So why is it better to go with Vinovest?
Yeah, I think the main thing is that we really help you pick out which wines for investment, right? Most people, I think, when they go to a stockbroker or a financial advisor, they'll ask them questions like, how much are you looking to invest? How long are you looking to invest for before you pull it out? And also, are you a conservative investor or an aggressive investor? We've taken all these inputs and translated them into actual bottles of wine that you should buy. So just like stocks, there's your blue chip wineries. They've been around for a long time, very steady and stable. And then there's also your equivalent of emerging markets. So we have a team of data scientists that have been able to create an investment model that helps us pick out the right wines as if they were any sort of stock. And we've also got an awesome team in terms of the wine expertise side. So, there's a position called the master sommelier, and it's essentially, the Navy SEAL of wine. There's only about 280 of them that have attained this title in the world, and we've got 3 of those folks supporting our company and on our team. So, a lot of times the world's best wines are very hard to access. Even if you had the money, they wouldn't give it.
Wow.
And have really good relationships with most of the top wineries in the world.
Yeah. So you've got boots on the ground with good data. How long did it take you to just grab this team together and just really make it have a lot of asset?
It's been pretty serendipitous. Started this company about a year ago, and I was just reaching out to a lot of, at the time they were my idols in the wine world. They were, world-renowned people in the wine world, and told them about my idea, told them about my experiences on the investor side, and they were on board. So very lucky to have things come together pretty quickly for us.
That is cool. So investors don't really invest in a vineyard, because when I first heard of you, I thought, oh, you're guiding people towards a vineyard, and then which one is the best investment. You're actually investing in an individual bottle. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so just, we're able to be pretty granular when we're looking at wines for investment potential. So for example, a bottle of Opus One from 2008 could have a completely different risk and return profile than 2009, just because of, outside factors like the supply, the harvest, critic scores, how fast the consumption has been since then. So we're looking at all of these factors and really, really being able to give you a lot more optionality than just investing in a vineyard where you're kind of at the mercy of what the vineyard is doing rather than the bottle, which is, really up to what the market dictates.
Mm-hmm. So are you seeing newer bottles? I would think the investment would be on older bottles, like 15 years or older or so, but is it you're excited about some of the newer wines that are coming out?
Yeah, I think with our strategy, we want to get you a good balance. So different bottles from different years, also from different regions, and even the new bottles. So, going into wine futures as well is something that we're pretty excited about, because it gives investors a chance to not only get in, early, but actually before it's even bottled, and essentially getting even more upside on a future return.
Right. So we got a couple questions here. Steve Walsh, who, hey Dave, great to see you. Look forward to hearing from Anthony Zhang. He also says this company, so he's backing it up. This company is going to take off like a rocket ship. Pay attention to them. Yeah, it's really fascinating. And Rick Greenwood, would I be buying wine or wine stock?
Great question, Rick. So you're actually buying the underlying wine bottles. So it's not like you're purchasing shares of a fund or shares to represent wine. You fully own it. We store it in our professionally managed storage facilities and make sure that it's maintained properly with full insurance, and you get the benefits of owning a physical asset.
That's cool. So it's not stock, it's you're owning the product, the asset.
Exactly.
That is interesting. So, but then you're actually guiding people through it, right? So if I were to go to vinovest.co and sign up, what's the process like? Do you sit with me? How do you get involved in this? I'm completely clueless with that.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. So based on how much you want to invest, if you're risky or not, if you're conservative or not, we have an investment model that can help select bottles of wine for you. We'll build that portfolio for you. We'll also actively manage it. So say you have a bottle of wine that's doubled in value, we know it's time to sell because it probably doesn't have that much upside left, and look for new opportunities to buy and rebalance your portfolio. So
Okay.
it's pretty hands off for the investor. We don't want it to be too high touch. We want you to be able to sit back and enjoy with a nice glass of wine while you're looking at your portfolio go up.
That's cool. And another question is, how do I receive my return?
So two ways. You can either sell it through us. So say $100 bottle becomes a $200 bottle. There's always going to be someone in the marketplace that's willing to buy it for 200, right? That's how we value it. So you can cash out and you pretty much doubled your money. Or, say you wanted to drink it one day. That's also an option, right? At the end of the day, wine is meant to be enjoyed and consumed. So you can get it shipped home if you wanted to as well.
It's just like a regular transaction. You just sell it. So that's pretty awesome. Is it wine all over the world, or is it just American wines?
It's all over the world. So actually most of the investment-worthy wines are still going to be in what we call the old world. So in France, regions like Bordeaux, Burgundy, Champagne, Rhone, and Italy and Spain, places that have vineyards that have been producing for hundreds of years, they're still the ones that I think on a global stage are most sought after. Of course, we've got some incredible Napa Valley wineries and wineries in the New World like Chile or in Australia as well. Yep. But that's what we kind of consider an emerging market.
Really? Even some of those sweet wines in Australia, I like some of those. So that's considered an emerging market. So, I mean, you get into the port wines in Portugal, but mostly the traditional old world wines. Exactly. Is that more conservative, going with a lot of the Bordeaux and those French region wines as opposed to the emerging market?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty conservative, especially, you buy a good bottle of Bordeaux in Bordeaux, or bet on an up-and-coming winery that maybe is not that well known yet in an established region. Those are things that come with more risk, but also more reward.
Right. Got another question here, and if anyone has questions, just type them in, and I'll pop them right on the screen. From Steve Walsh, how does the government look at this from a tax perspective? Does it look like any other investment from a capital gains perspective? That's a good question.
Yeah, so it's just like any ordinary investment, subject to long-term or short-term capital gains. And our company handles all of the tax preparation and statements, so it's as easy as handing it to your accountant or your CPA.
Wow. So how long is the process for someone just to sign up and get? Because I know you do webinars, right? Is that what you're recommending, that we check out a webinar to kind of get a taste?
Pardon, do you mind repeating that?
How do we understand Vinovest? Is it better just to go through the website and sign up and then have someone contact, or should we do some of those webinars that you were mentioning?
Yeah, I think if you're comfortable with it, it takes less than 5 minutes to sign up. We always have resources available, whether you want to chat on the phone or via email if you have any questions about the setup. But we're really wanting to be designed to be pretty accessible to everybody. You really need zero wine knowledge to get started. All you need to know is what you want from an investment standpoint, and our team does the work of translating that into wine recommendations for you.
So let me talk about Mark Cuban. So I saw the video. You actually pitched to Mark Cuban on another business, and Mark Burnett, the owner of Shark Tank, or the producer of executive producer of Shark Tank. So tell me about that. You were a young kid. You're still young now, but how did you feel going up there on stage and just sitting down? And that was bold of you. You just went over and just sat down. The whole audience lost it. Like, this kid's confident.
Yeah, it was back when I was a college student starting my first business, which was in the food delivery space. And I was pitching Mark Cuban and Mark Burnett. And I had seen the company that had gone pitched him right before us. And they were a little bit nervous, justifiably, but they got absolutely steamrolled because Mark just kind of smelt the nervousness. So I knew I had to do something different, even though I was really, really nervous and, honestly shitting my pants. pretended that I was really confident, and it ended up paying off.
There you go. Yeah, that was cool. You got to see that. That's on your website, right? Or no? No, that's
I
on
think
Real.
it's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, Real Backseat or something. Is it Backseat? It was a website. I just Googled your name and I saw that. I'm like, look at this kid, ballsy. Just sits down right next to him on stage and you got signed. I mean, he just went with you and just what 10%. Mark
Yeah,
took 10.
10%, $100,000. So that was the moment I think that I was like, wow, maybe I should be running a business, and maybe I don't need to become a accountant or investment banker or something like that, and do the whole 4-year program and then do a graduate school situation. I was like, this is much more fun.
Yeah, it's fun and risky, and the fact that you had a guy that made it, billionaire, and Mark Cuban as he is, and he just went with it. That's got to give you a lot of impetus to go. I'm going to start other companies. So that's from that day that just really helped you to keep going and going, right?
Exactly. I mean, if a billionaire is telling you that he wants to invest in your company and he thinks that you should drop out of school and run it full time, you should listen. So
You should listen. So what are some common pitfalls that you should avoid as a newcomer?
I think in the wine investing world, they've really designed it to be still kind of an old boys club, very exclusive, only for super wealthy people. And if you're not in the know, there's not a lot of information, right? What really drives wine prices? There's no equivalent of, the Motley Fool or like a Market Watch that
Yep.
gives you data on being like, all right, I think this wine's going to go up because of ABC. So I think getting the right information is really, really important. And then with I think any luxury or like high in demand asset, there's always fakes, right? People are trying to scam you. You could be buying a bottle of vinegar if you don't get it from the right source. So I think knowing that your wine is authentic, knowing that you're getting it from the right source is really, really important. And then I think another big component is storage, right? If you store wine poorly, it's in your shoebox or in a hot attic, it's done. There's no resale value. So you want to make sure that if you're getting into this, you want to get all of your infrastructure, humidity, temperature controlled, get insurance on your storage, and really take it seriously, because that is going to really, really impact the resale value. And those are all things that I had to figure out myself a few years ago, getting into the space. And I was like, wow, there's, if I wasn't so obsessed with it, I don't think I would have gone through with an investment. There's much easier ways to invest in other things. And that's a big reason why I created this company.
So what would you have done differently that you may have hit a brick wall on that you wish you could go back and tell yourself, hey, don't do that. I can get more successful faster.
That's a great question. I always thought that to get the best wines, you always hear about going to wine auctions, right? You hear that these are going to be the most sought after wines. You could maybe get a big deal, but I realized that auction houses, they just take crazy, crazy fees, right? You need to pay to even participate, and you also need to pay like up to 20% commission to even buy a bottle. And if you're looking at something from an investment standpoint, wiping out a 20% gain is almost, unfeasible for you to even get started. So I started, looking at ways where I can go more direct to the source, reaching to the wineries. Then you really solve all the problems. It's coming straight from the winery. It's in perfect condition. Hasn't been moved around all around the world or stored in someone's basement. And to know that. And that's the structure that we use at Vinovest. We work directly with wineries when we can, and also take care of all the storage, and charge much lower fees to make it much more feasible for people to just get started if they're really just dipping their toes into this new space.
Right. How did the wineries receive you guys when you first approached them? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think it's something new. They're like, why would we go with you when we've been selling wine to our agents or our merchants for hundreds of years? And I think the biggest thing that got them on board was the data that we're collecting. There's really no stock market for wine, right? They have no idea what the future value of their bottle is 5, 10, 50 years from now. They just know it's going to go up. So if I could tell a winery, hey, you should maybe release 80% of your bottles this year and 20% during year 5, because based on the historical trends of your winery, in year 5, you've already doubled. So you can basically make a huge markup on that wine, because by the 5 years of consumption rolls around, your wine is going to be much more rare, and you can be able to not leave so much money on the table by just leaving it up to the middlemen. So that's kind of our main pitch, and that's why wineries want to work with us, because they realize that leveraging this data is really important to have to be, surviving or thriving in the 21st century.
That is really cool. So it's like huge learning curve. You had to just soak all that up and be a sponge, right? And then approach them.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of training? Do you have a mentor that kind of helped you along the way? Or was it just, I got to read up on this stuff, go to Google?
Yeah, I think I'm just a naturally curious person. I'm, always have just loved wine from a consumption standpoint. So for me, I'm talking with people that I would love to meet anyways. And just being able to soak up that information is, it's really fun for me to do as well.
That is awesome. Why is now a good time to invest?
I think we're in a pretty unique time right now. Stocks are almost at an all-time high, yet the fundamentals are kind of crumbling, right? And I think a lot of investors are smart in that they know that they should probably be not putting all their eggs in one basket. Similarly, because of COVID, these wineries, they haven't had any foot traffic, right, for the past 4 months. They're low on revenues, and they are releasing their harvest this year at a pretty steep discount. So this, we've been looking at the data, and they haven't released anything this favorable of a discount since 2008, the last financial crisis. So this is essentially a once in a decade happening to be able to get in at a very, very ground level. Hopefully these wineries will be up and back and ready by next year, which most likely they will. But this is something that, can be very, very opportunistic for someone looking for a new asset class and getting in at a pretty historic time.
And how old is the company?
Our company is a little bit over a year old.
Wow. So this is the perfect time. Let me ask you about Europe. Do you have boots on the ground and some people over there that are kind of scouring around and being spies, finding out what's happening with wine? Or
I wish we had people like that, but our operations is based in the U.S., so we've got team members both on the East and West Coast, and we've got awesome partners that we work with. Not too hard with the time difference, be able to Skype someone from France or from Italy and be able to at least get a good pulse on what's happening.
That's cool. So we have a question. Anybody else who has a question, just throw it in there. Steve Walsh says, did you go back to Mark Cuban or give him a chance to invest in Vinovest, given you had success with him before? So that's his question, to go back.
So Mark knows about my business, but I want to get him on as a client, actually. I think that, with his kind of business savvy and his network, he knows a lot of great people who want to invest in new things too. So that's going to be my goal. I think during our next round of funding, I'll talk to him about that. Nice.
What round of funding are you in right now?
So we've just closed in on a seed round, so still very early, and we definitely want to take this and really just prove it out to more people first before we really seek any additional funds.
So everybody out there listening, a year old, this is hot right now. Just think about this. Just think about it. That's all I'm saying. Rick Greenwood says, are your clients predominantly wine folks or just investors? That's a great question.
That is a good question. So I would say about 99% of our clients are just investors. They knew nothing about investing in wine, not much about drinking wine. Some of them actually don't even drink alcohol at all. But I think they're just looking at it from an opportunistic standpoint on being like, hey, I've got some cash. I'm a little bit nervous about the stock market. Where should I put it, right? Maybe it's gold. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's something like wine. So that's that's really the profile of our investor, just someone who's curious and always looking for that next new asset class to invest in.
Good. And another question. They're all starting to come in. Yeah, keep coming them in. I'll click them on. And if you're watching this Wine with Dave on another page outside of the actual Wine with Dave page, and you want to ask a question, you got to come over to, just type in Wine with Dave, go to my page, you'll see the feed, and then ask a question, and that'll be great. I got Anthony Zhang here, and so Rick says, what East Coast areas are hot spots for wine?
So there are none in the East Coast of America.
Not even Maine, New Hampshire, no?
There's nothing that we would recommend to invest in there. If we're talking about the states, it's going to be Napa, it's going to be Sonoma.
Yeah.
Upcoming regions, maybe Washington and Oregon, but there just isn't enough global demand for East Coast wines as of yet.
That's true, because you've got the hills and it's really sunny, and then at night it's cool on the other side of the hill. It's just the perfect climate for a vineyard to grow. So it's too cold here, Rick says he's bluffing. Oh no, he's buffering. He says you're not buff. He's not saying you're bluffing. He's saying you're buffering. He also said roadie. Yeah, there's vineyards in Rhode Island, but they're okay. They're not fantastic, but it's tough. It's not a good investment. So you're really looking for strong, really maturing vineyards that are growing and are producing really good wine, not like the New England wines. You just really want to do the California or European. That makes sense.
Yeah. We want to buy wines that are going to appreciate in value and make our investors money.
Yep. That is awesome. Another question came in. He says, no, he's bluffing. He said he's bluffing. I don't know why he thinks you're bluffing about New England. He's crying. He's laughing. It's a joke. What is en primeur?
So that's a great question. So en primeur is the French term for wine futures.
Wine of the future.
Yeah. So with the harvest every year, they put it into barrels before it's bottled. But oftentimes it needs to be barreled or in bottle for, say, 2 to 3 years after that harvest year before it's even ready for the public to drink. However, they're a farm, right? They're in the agricultural business. They need money for next year's harvest right away, which is why they essentially do a pre-sale of the barrel. Even though the wine is in there, they can be like, all right, I'm going to sell you 100 bottles at $80 a bottle, and in 2 years, I'm going to come out and release that at $100 a bottle. You get the upside because you're helping us out with our working capital, and a little bit more risk because it's not yet bottled, right? There could be an earthquake, a hurricane, something crazy. That's something that is going to be a high risk, high reward situation as well for us. You're essentially guaranteed a profit if you have the patience to wait 2 to 3 years. So that's something that we actually just released on our platform this week, starting with a lot of Bordeaux wine futures, and it's been pretty exciting.
That's cool. En primeur. So that's really for the aggressive investor who wants to have an aggressive arm in their portfolio. That's perfect, and they're helping you out, and they're going to get paid in the end if it all pans out.
Exactly.
Before I let you go, if there's any other questions, people just ask away. I did have another question. Webinar. So what's the webinar? Where do we get to the webinar to learn a little bit more about getting involved in wine investing?
Great question. So we host them pretty regularly, a couple times a month. So my recommendation would be just to subscribe on Vinovest, easy as putting an email in, and you'll be the first to know. We do a lot of virtual tastings, giving you education on which wines are up and coming or hot. And we also just talk about wine investing. So it's a good time to just kind of have a good community of people who are interested both in investing and making money, but also enjoy some wine as well. And, we do them on a pretty regular basis.
That's very cool. Awesome. So go there, everybody. Vinovest.co, not .com, .co for company. And just sign up. And I was on the website. I'm actually going to do that myself. I'm not going to sign up right now, but I guess I could. I could just sign up right now, be a live guest. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. I got to get my wife interested. We love wine, and the thing is, wine's not going away. It's not something that is going away at all. It's great during bad times and good times. People celebrate with it, and it's affordable at sometimes. Certainly, my Kendall Jackson $7 bottle is extremely affordable. I can't believe that. I looked around for wine tonight because I knew I was going to interview you, and then I'm like, oh, we got a bottle. So then I go out half an hour before the show, and I'm like, Kendall Jackson? I'm meeting Anthony Zhang. I can't have Kendall Jackson. But like you said, you got to start somewhere. But listen, thanks for coming on the show. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to promote? Anything coming up outside of the on premiere?
I think I definitely enjoyed this a lot, and looking forward to watching your new shows as well. Thank you everybody for listening. It's been a pleasure, and I'm very available. So if you want to have any questions about wine investing, wine in general, or wine recommendations, I'll be pretty active. Anthony at Vinovest.co, and love to have a conversation directly.
Nice. Thank you, Anthony. You're the best. Take care, my friend.
Awesome. Take care.
Bye-bye. Hope you feel better, too.
Thanks.
He's a good guy. Yeah, just go to Vinovest, wineinvestment.co. And, yeah, he was a little under the weather. I felt bad, but he did good. He did good. So that's really interesting. Investing in a bottle of wine. And then, if they're not doing as well, you kind of like roll your money over to another one. But that's great. I'm going to do the webinar. I'm really curious just to find out about wine and just learn more about it. All right. Dave Plays with Apps. You guys ready for the next segment of Dave Plays with Apps? We're actually a little early on time, 9:47. Here is Dave Plays with Apps. Dave Plays with Apps. All right. You know what I'm going to show you guys? You little kiddos. I reduced that. You can see that right there. So over at the very bottom, boom, right over there, Vivino. Vivino is cool. I usually do, for Dave Plays with Apps, I usually do a graphic app or a video editing or some photo manipulation or sound recording, or there's all kinds of things like that. The creative field, it's kind of where I sit every day. But this one, I looked this up, Vivino, because my guest is Anthony Zhang from Vinovest. I figured, why not? Why not get a wine app? And I looked at a bunch of them, and this one is pretty cool. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it all. Browse wines. Let's see, for you. So here you go. You set up your profile, okay? And I don't have anything in there. But you can use your phone in the app to scan wine bottle labels, or don't scan it yet. Take it home, have one with your significant other, and go, that was tasty. I like that. And then scan the label. Then it goes in your app, and you could say something about it and rate it. It's pretty awesome. So you just hit that. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. I mean, I'm just showing a bottle, but it's pretty cool. You get scan many bottles one by one to compare them, or you can do individual or the wine list. It's pretty intuitive. It's really like a QR code, but it just picks up on the label and it matches the graphics to the database, and it tells you all about that wine. Now, this isn't an investing app. This is not at all that. This is just to tell you a little bit about the wine, and did it win any awards. It's got professional people commenting on it as well. So you go to search, and let me open this up. So this is pretty interesting, right? You go down, you're like, you know what? I've got some, because my wife and I like to watch some Netflix movies at night, and with cheese and crackers. So right over there, mature and hard cheese. So you click on that. What's good for that? Oh, Arno Roberts. And it tells you $29. That's not too bad. You know, a little pricey, but Clear Lake, United States, there are only a few wines that are always in stock in our household, and they give you a little speech there. And then you just go down the list and look at the ratings. That's a 4.5. 31 people rated that. 404 people rated this. So Yeron is pretty amazing. That's an Israeli. The Upper Galilee. Look at that. This wine does not have a deep aroma, but still poses a pleasant tendency to dry and wild dark berry along with leather. Has a strong presence in the mouth, complex with probably hints of something else. So Yeron. So you're like, wow, we should pick up a bottle of that. It goes with that cheese. And so this is really, really cool. I like that. And all you have to do is just go down to your search. I'll show you that again. See that? The little right at the bottom, right way down there. Search. Click it. Beef. What's good with beef? And look at that. Even at the top, it says discounted wines only. So you're like, yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of wine. We're just having a party. We just want to get a couple bottles. So discounted. Even discounted is $40, right? So Camignano Reserva 2016. Wow, 261 ratings. This is really cool. And so if you try it and you buy it, you can save it in your favorites. So you never have to remember. And I do that all the time. I'm like, man, what was that? That was crazy. I mean, Bogle is everywhere. Boda Box, all that, all those like $12 to $16 bottles. But sometimes you get like a $30, $40 bottle and then you forget the name and you throw it out. But look at this. I can slide the little slider over. I can say, look, I want to get a gift for someone, like a $50 to $50. No wines made the cut for beef. Oh, there's one. And it's $83. So if I really like someone, if I really, really like you, and you're a loyal listener on Wine with Dave, then I would get you this. Nicolas Zetana Zapata from 2015, $83. This is cool, guys. Get this app if you're into wine. Let me blow this up a little bit. So this is really awesome. This is like a multi-layered mobile experience here, or it's an app. You could just slide through and see the winners in 2020. Click on it, look at it. I think it's pretty awesome. And then over at the bottom corner, there's two more buttons I want to show you. This is Friends. And you can share it with a friend. You can rate a winner. You can follow friends. It's really a social media app, but kind of like having a sommelier, just kind of guiding you through this. How can you tell if a wine is any good? That's just I guess a blog, right? It's kind of like a blog. I mean, it's pretty full. It's pretty amazing. So Vivino, can you see that? Got to blow that up again. Vivino at the bottom. See, I was just ready to click it. Can't really click that in here. So get Vivino. Get Vivino. What's good with pasta? Pasta. El Enemigo, $109. Oh, okay. Let me lower the price on that. Let me go to like 30. What's a real good one? See, that's cool. 1,600 people rated this. It's a 4.3, which is not bad. Not bad for like $28. That is really good. You have some pasta. That, my friends, is a date night. Look at this. Moscato. We've had Moscato. You know why we've had Moscato? Because it's $12.97. Abadia Ruterta, 28 cents. Anyway, I'm pronouncing it wrong. I can't pronounce these. But these are great, okay? So get this. Dave plays with apps. What did you guys think of my guest, Anthony Zhang? Great guy. Definitely educate yourself on some wine. And, the stock market is the stock market, but the wine market, you didn't know, right? You didn't know you could invest in wine. So do it. I think it's cool. What do we have? We got some people. Let's see. Rick says, I didn't want to tell him I'm drinking wine from a bottle. I know. I do the same. Boda. I use Boda. Steve Walsh. I use this app all the time. It's awesome and really easy. Well, Steve, I should have had you on describing the, Steve plays with apps. It's my go-to wine app. Cool. I did not know that. But it is highly rated in the App Store, so I would have figured that. $29 is $29. See, Rick is an old-time listener on the show, and he remembers that joke. That was a joke. Was it $30 is $30? Anyway, it's inside joke. I'm not into inside jokes. It's not fair. So let's go to the last segment, which is usually a closing joke. And I don't have a joke. I need some jokes. Google funny jokes. I swear to you. I mean, you can Google hernia operation and get amazing content and perform a hernia operation on yourself. But you Google jokes, you get nothing. It's just they're bad. They're really bad. I don't know what it is. Comedians are just like, nope, I'm not putting my stuff online. Nope. And they hold on to it. There's all like stupid things like, what do you call a homeless musician, a drummer, like, haha. It's just stupid stuff. Really, really just not funny at all. But, so anyway, I don't have a joke tonight. Nothing funny. But I do want to talk for the next 3 minutes, possibly, on something that's going down next week, and I am going to talk about some details here. Are you guys ready? So, on Monday, it occurred to me that I need to do this, since this is a pretty cool platform, live broadcasting. I really want to talk about racism. So next week, I'm not having a guest is having Wine with Dave, another guest having Wine with Dave. Every night of the week, it's racism is having Wine with Dave. We're talking racism. There will be no white people on the show. It will be black guests. Well, I mean, I'm the host. I'm white, but we're having black guests, and they're going to be speaking from their little place in life. And there's 5 of them. There's a 16-year-old to a 60-year-old, and I've got a couple guys, couple women. It's going to be really good. I had my first talk with them today. They're locked in place. Monday is Joe Reddish. He's on the committee. It's by selection only. They selected him. He's big in Rhode Island. He's on the committee for bias and prejudice. And all I know is he goes in with his team and they train the police departments on racism and violence and the history of racism and all that stuff. He's a fascinating guy. He's hilarious too. You'll pee your pants. I should have called him. He's got a lot of jokes. Joe is a really good friend. He's going to be on the show on Monday. And then Tuesday is a 16-year-old boy, a young man, Justice Smith. He has stories. I'll just leave it at that. And I can't wait for him to be on. And I had to tell him today, I said, Justice, you don't have to drink wine on the show, okay? And he's like, yeah, I figured that was the case. He's an old sage. He's a wise kid for 16 years old. So I said, we could do root beer with Justice. So he's going to be on. He's going to be talking about what it's like being a black teenager in America, or at least on the East Coast. Wednesday, we're bringing on some women, all right? So Kristen Wilson is an old friend. I've known her forever. Single woman. She's talking about her story and her experiences. And listen, I even told them, I said, it's really not you guys' job to change the world. You've been doing that for years. I think the responsibility is on white people to just affect our friends, our other white friends, and just help them to see, yeah, blue lives matter, black lives matter, all lives matter, but really, whose life does it look like it doesn't matter much? It's black lives. So let's try to focus on leveling the playing field here. Let's give everybody a fair shot in America. And it hasn't been. I mean, race has been the longest headline in the American newspaper ever. So Kristen is going to share her stories on that. And then Thursday is Felicia Kennedy. And I think is she in Washington, D.C.? I don't know where she is. She's got a master's in psychology. She's going to talk about, and this is really interesting, she's going to talk, and I don't want to steal some thunder, but she's going to talk about stress and anxiety and how it can actually get into your DNA a bit, and you could pass it on to generation. And there's an anxiety level in the average African American in America. And she's going to share some stats with us and her own story. And then Friday is Jeremy Ogunba. He is going to be on. He actually spoke at our church 2 years ago. I missed it. I was busy taking care of my parents and my brother. They were very sick at the time, and I couldn't go. But I know people who went, and they said, this guy nailed it. He knows the history of Black America and racism like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, ugh. And a buddy of mine, Rick, says, I filmed it all. And I never got around to getting the filming from him. But anyway, he's going to be on Friday and wrap it all up. And he's going to kind of the overarching problem that's going on. And he's going to be on Friday. And I'm going to be doing some videos, too. I might actually do a song with someone, maybe live, maybe not. I don't know. I'll see. But there'll be videos all week, and every day there's going to be news. So I'm not going to be doing the Did You Know, which I typically do. It might be Did You Know Black History. I'm not going to do a joke. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about that at all. And I won't be doing Dave Plays with Apps. So it's going to widen that window of half an hour to maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So that's it. But on this page, Wine with Dave, and if you're not on Wine with Dave, go there, like the page, number one. Number two, there's an event, a Facebook event for that. Please register. Obviously, it's free. Just say you're going, and it will ding you every night, even if you completely space and you're watching, I don't know, Tiger King, and you're binging Tiger King, and all of a sudden, ding, your phone goes off. Dave's live. You're like, oh, that's right. I signed up for that. So it's good. Just sign up for it, okay? People are texting me. Yeah, ooh, a lot of texts are coming in. So that's it. That's all I have for tonight. Tomorrow night is Ali Tedeschi. I will see you folks tomorrow. Take care. Be good.